These are two of my favorites. This is the production model Adrian Belew signature fly. This is what I play on stage, play it everywhere. But interestingly, we decided to do a second version with a more, this shape, a more contemporary shape. And because I already had this guitar and a few of them, I decided to make it fretless. So this guitar here, my silver fretless one, is very interesting for this reason. First of all, it's a MIDI guitar, a MIDI fretless guitar. Secondly, it has a sustainer. So the problem that you have with fretless guitars, kind of the notes dying out quickly, that doesn't happen on this guitar. This is kind of like having a big violin. You know, just once you turn the sustainer on, every note is going to sustain. Then, as if that weren't enough, you know, there's this thing that this wonderful company called Antares has put out. It's an auto-tuning system, right? That's what this is right here. So it means that I can play a note, and instead of having to worry so much about that note being perfectly on, which is the second big problem with fretless guitar playing, it'll go perfectly in tune if I want it to. I can determine how much I want it to do, to the point where I can even play a bar chord and it'll tune it. And it looks at the note at 8,000 times a second.
So, does it have any problems with when you start sliding around? You have to turn it off?
No, no. That's what I'm saying. You can tell it how much. There are different ways you can tell it how much do you want it. So sure, you don't want to get rid of the sliding. That's the main reason you're...
Of course.
So it sounds like cheating, but it's not. Actually, I'm pretty good with intonation on a fretless anyway, because I started playing fretless guitar from the very first with the Lone Rhino record, my first solo album. The very first song, Big Electric Cat, is a fretless guitar. It's in the other room, in the guitar room. Show you my gear, which changes constantly, but let's just look at it. Here you have my main instrument, the Axe Effects. I still use the Axe Effects 1 because I'm too lazy and don't have time to rebuild all those programs in Axe Effects 2. We have Axe Effects 2 in the Magic Closet, so I do use it in the studio only.
There isn't a software way to dump it and load it?
Sorry to say, boys, that was a big mistake. Then my computer, which does it, there you go.
Are you running Ableton?
I'm running Ableton. I run my looper through here. I have a mixer in here. I can do computer things from here. Like if I want to play piano, I play a piano sample through here. And I'm starting to use it more. This is a brand new one. We just got this one, which is a lot more powerful. So I've started now adding in Guitar Rig. Before, I wasn't happy enough with it, but now I'm going to be using Guitar Rig 5. Down here we have the VG99, and you have a Motu unit that you have to make all this stuff talk with. This is for my in-ears, and that's it, really.
So how's the computer hooked in with the fractal? Is there a loop in the fractal that goes a send and return that goes into the computer and back into the fractal, or
I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's show you what's on the floor. You know.
All right.
This is a Liquid Foot, the smallest one they make. It does all of my MIDI changes. Anything I do, there you go. Let's go up and find a song by King Crimson right now. Ready? There you go. There's Elephant Talk. And this would be the first program in Elephant Talk, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. This would make a loop if I wanted. I'd press record right here. If I didn't like it, I'd get rid of it here. If I pressed record and liked it and wanted to overdub it, I'd hit this again. If I wanted it to just stop after one time, which is very, very helpful during a live performance, so you don't have to stop everything, I'd hit that. If I wanted to tune, I would go here, hold this for 2 seconds, and the tuner would come up. And that's my setup. This pedal is the volume level for the VG99 or guitar rig. Either one. This pedal here is the volume pedal for, wait a minute. This is the volume pedal for the computer stuff. Like if I had a piano sound, that's where I would bring it up. Over here, this is all guitar. So this is the volume for the Axe effects. This is the expression pedal. And this expression pedal can be used for tons of different things. So sometimes I'm pushing it and the guitar sound's being turned around backwards. Sometimes it's changing the rate of a delay or something like that. Then I have this Digitech Harmony Man. And I always really love these guys, Digitech. They've always been good to me, and they've helped me do this thing that I like to do, where I skip through different pitches. You'll see there's an octave low. There's 4 different pitches in this: a -7, a +3, and a +5, 5th above. This is the same thing really as my Impossible pedal that we have for on the Stomp Shop, which is also Digitech. So if you're into the Stomp Shop stuff, you can get this on the Impossible pedal. Why am I not bringing it along with me, the Impossible pedal? Because I already got this and I'm using it. I will probably switch to the Impossible pedal early next year. I plan to take this rig even further down. I want to get it someday to the point where I've got this stuff in a little briefcase with my computer, and that's about it.
I understand.
I'm looking around. If I look in the back of this, by the way, I should also tell you, I always have this Keeley compressor on. I know some guys don't like that. I love compression. And I have this multi-wave fuzz that I like a lot. It's MIDI programmable, so it's built into the programs when I switch them. It does fun stuff like make it sound like a dead battery or something like that, you know. And it's a great little device. All my other great little devices that I love so much, they're in here. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know we're getting a pretty long video here.
That's fine.
This is where all the good boxes are, in the Magic Closet. Ta-da! Now the Magic Closet, something that was built by my audio engineer Daniel Rowland, has 5 48-point patch bays, and everything you see in this room is all linked together in the patch bay. That would be everything from throughout my career. I mean, I have pieces in here that are from, you know, the early 70s or 80s. Old turntable. Here's a device right here that David Bowie gave me that as a gift when I went to Japan in 1978, or was it 79 with David. It's a Roland DC-30, and I used this for a long time, and I used it for whale sounds too. You have all kinds of great pedals. Every pedal that everyone's ever sent me is probably in this room.
Are they all hooked in, or do you hook in various ones?
They are all hooked in. Over here you have another computer system that's hooked into the computer in the control room, so all that works from right here too. So if we're in the in the Magic Closet, we don't have to go in there. Here's a tape player that I used to use.
Used to play through it?
Yeah, we used to record with it. Yeah. Got several different amps and things in here. For example, here's the Kemper, which I love. So that's millions of amp sounds there, but we've got my old Johnson amp right here, and the foot pedal.
What is this thing? I have to know.
That is a Thurman. That belongs to Daniel. He brought that to the party.
Wow.
And if you come over here, you'll see here's a, you know, kind of a laptop, a lap steel, and all these different pedals you can run it through, and it's pretty, or anything else. Come around here. Here's on the floor some of the pedal boards that run all these devices. We've got, you know, your Johnson one. You've got, you know, your Line 6. I love their stuff. It's great. This is my old pedal board, early Liquid Foot one that I no longer use, but we use it in for live, so I use it in here. And I was telling you earlier that one day I came in and Daniel had on the turntable, he had the record, The Sound of Music, and he said, watch this, and he put it on and he went over here and turned a couple knobs and it sounded like Nine Inch Nails, and I swear to you, you would never know it was The Sound of Music. It sounded like, oh my God, you know, like horrendously. So it's what you can do when you have all these pedals. You don't need to have very many of them together at once. But you know, I can no longer travel around the world with all this stuff, so I wanted to keep it and use it because I love all these things. This is my life. This is how I make the sounds I make. So,
are you able to reproduce most of these sounds between the Fractal and Ableton and
No.
Guitar Rig? No,
not most of them. I would say no. There's, I mean, probably millions of combinations in this room. What I'm able to do is get very, very close with the ones that I need for the music that we play. So when for example, with Crimson Project, when I went back and I needed to get all those kind of sounds from the 1981 Discipline record, I was able to get the real sound and dial it in by comparison over time with the small rig that I can take on tour. You know, a lot of guys take a lot of stuff around, and I think they spend all their money doing that. If that's what you want to do, that's fine with me. But I prefer to take a little as I can and make the most of it and not have all those big, huge traveling costs and disappointments when things don't show up and break at the airport and it's all that stuff. So that's the direction I'm headed in.
Cool. Are you taking backups for any of that stuff? Like
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we do have a backup for a couple of things. Not everything. Backup computer, of course.
Right.
I think we have a backup liquid foot. That might be it, because we can basically do everything between those two things. The other things are kind of add-ons.
Right. One thing we didn't discuss back in here, I was just curious, and it's sort of minor, but the Atomic, those are power amps basically that come out, that the Fractals.
Yeah, here's what happens here. The Axe Effect stuff comes out of the Atomics, and they are powered monitors. Everything else comes out, the loops, the pianos or computer sounds or VG99 or Guitar Rig or any of that comes out of these nice Bose columns. They have their bass bends as well there. Now, what we do when we tour anywhere outside of the United States where we don't want to take all this stuff is I just have 6 outs coming out from the back of my rig and just goes direct to the front of the house. They send me a mix, stereo mix, and they send the same to the band, so the band can have the loops on their own if they want, so they can play to them. And it's all very, very nice that way. It's very easy and quick to do, and so I don't carry any amps anymore. You know, but for this U.S. tour we're about to do, I'll probably bring all this stuff just because I like it.
Are you using this thing? I forgot what it's called.
This is called the Tenorion.
Right.
Yamaha makes it. I love it, but I don't use it live right now. But I just have it. I'm fooling around with it all the time. There's a bit of it in Flux.
Right.
It's great for Flux stuff because you can make up some little wonderful pattern and do something with it, and you're done. Some people use the Tenorion and make wonderful long pieces of music. I'd like to get to that point, but I haven't had time with it yet.
Cool. So I think that pretty well covers the gear, right?
It does.
All right.